Immortals' new jungler.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the victorious Smithy, coming off with a great win over Phoenix1. First off, I need to ask, how confident were you coming into this match? In the eyes of many, Phoenix1's the #3 team from last split. Looks like they were going to win, and of course, you guys did win. So what do you think coming in?
Scrims are not really a part of like showing like true skill, but most of our scrims were like actually really productive, and it was really scrappy in like the first 1 or 2 weeks, but we figured it out, and then we just got on the same page.
You mentioned the first 1 or 2 weeks were a bit scrappy. How long were you kind of aware of this being the roster move for you in this trade? Like, how long have you been working with Immortals now?
I think it's been like a month or so. I know they were all like really mechanically skilled players, and all they wanted was, I guess, just like sort of like a leader type of thing, like where everyone wants to mesh together and just someone to support each other. Because like back then, like last split, like no one was really supporting each other as a teammate. Like they just wanted to carry by themselves, and then I feel like I can bring that together.
Yeah, it's kind of been the idea is Smithy's sort of a more supportive jungler, and it has certainly worked out well. A topic I've seen brought up a lot is who won out in the trade. Did Immortals get a better jungler? Did CLG get a better jungler? And Dardak here. And we were talking before this interview started, and you said it was a win-win. So tell me, why is this a win-win for you?
Well, for Immortals, like I already said that what they really needed, in my opinion, was like just someone to, like for example, like shot caller, like someone just like to have a higher voice than everyone, I guess. And CLG has like also really good shot calling already from Afremu. And then I guess like for the jungler, they can have someone like who's flexible as like a tank or a AD carry or a carry. So
that's cool. So you're actually more of a leader on the team now, which is actually really interesting.
You can say that.
Well, that's cool to hear, though, of course. So that's fair enough. I do want to ask you about your old team, though. Of course, they had beaten Cloud9 earlier today. Just as a sort of a question, how much are you still keeping in contact with your old teammates and your old buddies there?
Not much has like been communicated for a while since like we're all so busy. They were in boot camp, I think, and then ourselves are like scrimming like nonstop, and yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Smithy, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you later on in the week as well. Now off to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak. Both players in that trade, Dardak and Smithy, picking up their victories here on day 1 of the summer split, so that has to feel good. But let's take a look at how Immortals was able to put together this 3rd victory here. I do know you have some thoughts on champ select, so we're going to work through this bit by bit and see how these teams arrived with the comps that they did. Phoenix1 maybe making a bit of a misstep here.
Yeah, first things first, I loved Immortals' draft, especially from the get-go. They first picked the Shen, which was the champion that they had so much trouble with dealing in the top lane in Game 1, so it's denied from Phoenix1. But then Phoenix1 answered with taking away from Smithy, he played the Elise previously, saying let's get him off his comfort. Then they also go with the Kled, which is pretty good into the Shen, but doesn't end up being very effective this game. Maybe you want something like a Galio instead, since it's not banned at all here. But then Immortals go for, all right, time to go for protection comp. Let's go. We got the Shen. Caitlyn, Karma locked in, so they have their hyper carry in the bottom side.
Cool. So let me stop you there.
Yep.
Phoenix1 can properly identify after these 3 picks that we know what Immortals is doing. They're working their way towards a protect the AD carry composition. Okay, now how do they respond?
Yeah, this was the confusing part. They take the Lulu, that's fine, but then the ban phase afterwards, they take away another jungler, and then they don't pitch the jungle anymore and take away Gragas. Instead, they take away the Syndra, which, if you wanted to really pinch that down and play the Kog'Maw, the biggest counter to protect the Kog'Maw compositions is the Gragas. The Gragas can separate people from their team and make sure that, they don't have that support anymore, and the AD carries will walk up all the time when they have the protection of a Lulu, and they'll be on the front line. So that was a little bit strange, because you pick the Kog'Maw here, you are 100% giving away protect the Kog'Maw composition.
Right.
Pick Orianna here instead. You pick the Orianna here, they pick whatever they want, Talia, etc., but they don't get the takeaway. And if you pick Kog'Maw here, you give away, all right, take Gragas, boom, you countered us. You pick Orianna here instead, guess what happens? They can pick Gragas, and you can even pivot and say, well, we don't want to play protect the Kog'Maw anymore. Let's go with something a little more mobile. And you can pivot from there. But I think picking the Kog'Maw and then giving that away and allowing yourself to be countered and have the Orianna taken away from you makes it so that this Kog'Maw pick in this order is actually not good at all.
Absolutely. So again, showing your hand a little bit too much here when you could have prioritized something else that is built for your composition and is also good at dismantling your composition. So 2 different things that Phoenix1 could have done to maybe give themselves a better start here just in champion select alone. But again, we can't deny the game put together by Immortals here, because this one was dominant, and Xmithie was doing work in the early game to get his team advantages, and then, of course, Pobelter coming in big on this Orianna, who's been playing like a monster today.
Actually, the guys who were reunited from CLG Championship 2015 summer, man, they're fucking crushing it. Like, that was crazy. I loved it when we saw the mid lane of Pobelter go in there with the Orianna Shockwaves, and I loved the Gragas. He played it so well, because, like, hypothetically, the Gragas does beat the Kog'Maw compositions, but he crushed it today. Xmithie really did show that this trade made Immortals better too.
And this game was over and in the bag at 19:30. So let's take it to one replay, a 3-for-0, and the drag 4 Immortals here. Walk me through it.
Yeah, this was so good. This is the exact thing you want. Xmithie sees the opportunity. Oh no, body slams the wall, whatever. Gets arrow into the team. Exactly how you should play that from there. And he doesn't even die at that part.
He used one spell. Xmithie won the fight with one spell after missing. That's what I'm saying.
That's why it's such a big counter.
Exactly, I know. That's why I'm saying.
Throw out the barrel, you get it in the right spot.
You see this man, this
job done.
He is passionate about this, but it's because it's true, right? It shows the effectiveness of the pick, even when misplays were there, technically, in terms of execution on his own abilities. The one important ability, it lands the way it needs to, and Phoenix1 is punished for it. Immortals walks away with the victory very cleanly. Player of the game going to Xmithie for exactly that. Here on his new team, we heard it from him in that interview with Freak. He feels like old Immortals was a team of many people who are all looking to carry, and they don't have a unifying factor or a foundation to rest on. He's exactly the kind of player who's happy to take a backseat to other people and say, I will set you up to win the game.
Yeah, I looked at his build, I'm like, why are you building Knight's Vow, second item on Elise? Does it again on Gragas, gets Adaptive Helm, which is great too, but he's just building to be supportive, to soak for his team, to take the damage away from his other carries, and that seems to be exactly what Immortals needed. I said at the beginning of the day that I thought the trade of Xmithie and Dardoch was clearly Dardoch and CLG won out on that, but I might have to reevaluate that, because Xmithie played really well today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hey, look, again, both teams coming away with victory today. Interestingly enough, our second and third place teams from Spring Split are the losers of their first matches here tonight. So again, where we talked about a super competitive split in spring and what is going to be a super competitive split here so far in summer, it's turning out to be exactly that on night one.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped about this split, just in general. I'm really excited to see what happens with all of the trades. I mean, it's only been one match for these two teams.
I was about to say, good news for you. We've got 12 weeks of this. 9 weeks of regular season play, 3 weeks of playoffs. So with day one in the books, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. CLG and Immortals, they come out of the gate with the first wins of summer, while Cloud9 and Phoenix1 look to net their own later in the weekend. The remaining 6 teams take to the stage tomorrow, and it all begins with Counterlogic Gaming back on the stage versus Team Liquid on NALCS 1. Then TSM returns to the battle arena to face Cloud9 in our rematch of the Spring Finals. Then over on NALCS 2, Froggen and Echo Fox take to the stage against High and FlyQuest, followed by a brawl between Team Dignitas and Team Envy in the Battle Theater. Turning to you for the rematch of Summer Finals. As Cloud9 sustain the loss today, there will be some element of, like, how do they bounce back from this? But again, this is a roster that now has some veterans on it, and we always expect they will bounce back. But how are you looking at this rematch from spring with Doublelift now back in the mix?
Exactly. Doublelift's back in the mix. TSM are going to look a little bit stronger, but they haven't had the same amount of time to mesh. They had MSI with a different person at AD carry, and they're coming off of that loss. So they have to shake that off, refocus, get Doublelift in there who's fresh, but also C9 coming off a loss as well. But they played 3 games with Ray. So that's kind of the question mark there, is what's really going on with that C9 roster. Is Impact going to play? What's going to happen? But I definitely think that TSM have a little bit of an edge there, because they aren't sustaining a loss from the day before, but they do have Doublelift AD carry, and I think that's going to help them out a lot.
Yeah, roster stuff to be decided for the C9 squad. We'll see if they can craft a victory tomorrow against TSM. That's going to do it for tonight. So for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more North American LCS. Good night.